Folks, you want to hear some real crap, some real baloney? Well, check this out. This is an article from Fox News. Came out today, June 27th, so I'm doing this video on the fly. Title of the article, National Archives Racism Task Force says own rotunda example of quote-unquote structural racism. Knocks founding fathers. This is by Houston King. Now, I find this to be a real scream because remember this whole global warming debate? First, they called it global warming. And when it didn't go their way, they called it climate change. And when it still didn't go their way, they changed it to climate shift. Seems like they're always changing the language when things don't go their way. And it was what? Systemic racism. Now it's structural racism. Structural racism. Now this is according to a report, what the Racism Task Force has done here at the National Archive. This is according to a report that came out in April, but it wasn't released till this month. And the rotunda houses the Declaration of Independence, U.S. Constitution, Bill of Rights, other important documents, about 100 or so historic documents. Actually, there's a website called ourdocuments.gov, we'll talk about that in a moment, that describes these 100, or preserves these 100 different documents. And they take aim at a few people as well, including Thomas Jefferson. So as I said, this includes other early American documents, and what they're going to do now is include quote-unquote trigger warnings to inform audiences of racial slurs or other derogatory language that may have been in the text of these documents at the time they were written. Now, the purpose of this is to shield visitors from, quote, content that may cause intense physiological and psychological symptoms. The report states the following here. Quote, providing an advisory notice to users gives us an opportunity to mitigate harm and contextualize the records. Now, I just love this. They always use this legal mumbo-jumbo. You notice that? They try to sound educated. They just can't come out and say, you know, we really think you people are racist here in this country, so we're going to put warnings in front of all these documents or Confederate statues or you name it to say that you're racist. I mean, have some balls, people. I'd love to see that. I would really love to see that. Oh, you know the backlash would be through the roof if that happened. So no, they've got to use legal mumbo-jumbo because they know they're full of crap. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is all crap. This is all baloney. Now, the report also calls for language to be changed on that website, ourdocuments.gov, which preserves, quote-unquote, milestone documents. As I said, Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, that sort of thing. And they do take aim at Thomas Jefferson. While they call him a visionary, they talk about his expansion westward and how he mistreated the Native Americans, which laid the foundation for the Trail of Tears. Well, can I tell you something, liberals, about the Trail of Tears? Did you know that Native Americans on the Trail of Tears were able to bring their slaves with them? You can't say that. That's politically incorrect. No, I will say that because it's true. Ever open up a history book? I don't even think these people can read a history book. Now, it goes on to describe the website, ourdocuments.gov, as a website that features transcripts and historical context of 100 milestone documents of American history, but often uses adulatory and excessive language, once again, here we go with this legal mumbo-jumbo, to document the historical contributions of white wealthy men. White wealthy men are to blame for this. I talked about this in my video about the Boston Tea Party. Now, I didn't mention something in that video, and I meant to. So liberals, listen up. SJWs, listen up. At the time, all these Townsend Acts that were being passed, okay, these Townsend Acts not only put excessive taxes on the colonists, but they were using that money to pay off the judges and the governors in the colonies to stay loyal to the British crown. I think we call that a bribe to gay. A bribe to gay. There you go. A bribe to gay. As I said, this is a video I'm doing on the fly. I'll tell you what, folks, it seems like whenever I do these videos, I always trip up on a word somewhere. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it's just I'm nervous because I'm doing this on camera or whatever. I don't like to really do a lot of public speaking, I guess. This is my way to connect with the audience. I'm kind of a shy person in real life, so I kind of keep to myself. But at least I get to come here and entertain you. And that is something I'll have to do is come here and do these videos for you. So thank you for supporting the series and being a part of this thing we call the Cultural Confederacy. Hope you're enjoying the video. If you do enjoy the video, please click that like button, subscribe. Hit me up on Instagram at #JasonComposes. Leave comments below. Now you can reach me at Cultural Confederacy at Twitter. And as I've said before, I'm trying to get all these accounts synced up so that when you go to one, you can find me at another. So as I was saying, they were taking a swipe here, or they take a swipe at Thomas Jefferson and point out his cruel treatment of the Native Americans and all that jazz. But get this. This is the best part. This just kills me. So they want to address the quote-unquote legacy descriptions that use racial slurs and harmful language to describe BIPOC communities. What are BIPOC communities? BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, and Other People of Color, and it also includes terms such as elderly and handicapped. And the report calls for safe spaces in every NAR, they call themselves the NARA, not the NRA, but the NARA facility. Although they should change that name because it is close to the NRA. If you call yourself NARA, N-A-R-A, that might conjure up the image of guns, possibly, the Second Amendment, and I know liberals don't like that. So maybe you might think about changing your name from NARA to just the National Archives. Oh, we can't say that because that might represent non-alcoholic. That might be a reference to alcoholics or trying to prevent people from drinking. This gets really complicated, folks. I mean, it really does. Because right here, you can point out the hypocrisy of these people. Want to change all this language, and they want to be sensitive to these other communities. But now they want to add not just safe spaces, as I mentioned here, but they want to include performance art and interpretive dance. Oh, I know that would be a train wreck. I mean, just look at the modern art community. You go to a museum and they've got a blank canvas on a wall, and that's a piece of art. Actually, you can go to any of these art galleries, and there's nothing there. Did you see the story about the guy that bought an invisible sculpture? An invisible sculpture. The emperor has no clothes, folks, but somebody paid good money for that. Oh, yes, there's an invisible sculpture, but it's the most beautiful, exquisite thing that I've seen, even though I really can't see it. The absurdity of these people is just, folks, it just, actually in a way it gives me hope for living. I just had a birthday Saturday, turned 44. So, I'm still here, I'm still kicking, and whenever I see this, I crack up. Because when these things happen, we got people buying invisible statues, or as in this case, they're trying to change the language at the National Archives, or have this racism task force to protect you from racial slurs and offensive language that may have been a document 150 years ago. When you go back and you check the time period, you find out that they had that view about every lower class group, including the Irish, the Italians, the Polish, the Czechs, as I've mentioned before here on the series. Like I said, these people have never opened up a history book. I hate to say this, and I've been waiting to say this, and I know I'm going to step on a lot of toes when I say this. You are not the only people to suffer out there, okay? I mentioned in my last video, everybody in the end has gotten it in the end. Just remember that. Everybody in the end has gotten it in the end. That is the truth, folks. It's 100% true. As I said, the Irish, the Italians, even the Germans in World War I and World War II, and 11,507 Germans, or German national citizens, German Americans, were interned alongside the Japanese and 250 Italians. So if you're going to include all this language, or trigger warnings, rather, not language, but trigger warnings about the language that was in these documents to protect people, the BIPOC community, then why don't you start including, because you mentioned elderly and handicapped, why don't you mention the fact that Hitler killed many of his own people who happened to be elderly or handicapped because he thought he had no use for them? Oh, wait a minute, those people were white. Well, we can't do that because that would completely destroy the narrative that we're trying to create here at the National Archives. See, as much as you SJWs try to claw and fight your way through this, you just can't win. Just like Hollywood. I was thinking about that today. I saw this trailer. People have been doing this video here on YouTube, or analysis here on YouTube, about the movie Karen. Now everybody's a Karen. This is being produced by Hollywood. People who have this exclusive award show once a year that you're not invited to. They live behind gated communities or mansions. They have security up to the eyeballs, and they want to preach to you about tolerance and diversity. Do you think that they would let anyone of any race into their mansion or their home on a whim? Hell no. You think they'd let you into the Academy Awards because you want to get an award? No. It's an exclusive club. These people need to take a look in the mirror. I think a lot of them live in glass houses and they don't know it. So I thought I'd share this story with you today. Once again, title of the article, and I'm sure you're going to hear about this, as I said, in the next couple of days, coming days. Title of the article, Fox News, National Archives Racism Task Force's own rotunda example of quote-unquote structural racism, Knox Founding Fathers. This is by Houston King. But there are other articles out there. I found one at the New York Post. I think maybe the Washington Post is also doing this. New York Times might be covering this. But you're going to hear a lot more about this, I guarantee you. I guarantee you. And look at what happened down in South Florida. Our hearts and prayers go out to the families that were affected by this, the people who died or have been missing in that building collapse in Sunrise, Florida. So now I'm starting to see the narrative shift on that they're going to go into this direction of affordable housing, which groups were most affected by this. You know it's going to turn political if it hasn't already. You know it's going to turn political. That's just the nature of the beast nowadays. So once again, thank you for listening to the video, watching the video. I try not to show myself on camera. I'm very camera shy, kind of a shy person, like I said. So you enjoyed the video, please click that like button, subscribe, hit me up on Instagram at hashtag Jason Composes, leave comments below. Now you can reach me at Twitter, Cultural Confederacy at Twitter, and hopefully I've caught up on all the latest news, everything cultural here on the channel. And I really love doing these videos for you guys, and thank you so much for subscribing or being a part of this thing we call the Cultural Confederacy. It means a lot to me, and I wouldn't be here without you. So you all have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll catch you next time. This is the Cultural Confederacy saying peace out, stay safe, everybody, and God bless this great country.